I concerned about musical theater? And why do I continue from the tape correct use of voice in speaking? Of course, you know that the same instrument we use in speaking is the same one that we use in singing. All the components of singing are used in the speaking voice. If one does not use the components while speaking, he will not be able to sing that big solo which is approaching in his big musical production on Broadway or what have you. I heard one of our leading bass baritones of the Metropolitan Opera go into a Broadway show. This man had a gorgeous voice on the Met stage. When he started to singing in the Broadway show, he said, I have no difficulty at all in singing the beautiful solos in this, but after I have done all of the speaking in the role before I have to sing, I can't sing my best. What did he have to do? He had to learn how to speak that dialogue correctly in order for the singing voice to be ready to go when he got ready to sing. I have heard untrained voices in high school and college level preparing for some of the big Broadway shows, big Broadway musicals. They have completely lost their voice the night before the opening or during the run of the performance. This is tragic. I ask you directors, high school and college level, please, when you cast your productions, be sure that your cast knows the correct use of the speaking voice and the singing voice. Otherwise, don't impose those Broadway shows on them. Young voices can be damaged or permanently ruined in one show. This is not an exaggeration. I attended a performance very recently of Once Upon a Mattress. It was done by the junior and high school level. 4 shows back to back. I heard the 4th show Saturday night after the students had done a performance that afternoon. The director was a former student of mine. She was a drama major at the university where I was teaching. She had studied voice with me for 5 years, and she at this time was teaching at the university. When I heard of the coming production of Once Upon a Mattress, and I knew those 2 character roles of the princess and the mother, I just shuddered, because both of these girls had very beautiful voices. Well, my shuddering was all uncalled for. All of these students, on their 4th performance, remember, were as fresh as they could be. This was Saturday night after a matinee and a Friday night and a Thursday night performance. Well, I was very proud that the training that I had given this student of mine had been carried out, and I saw the very dramatic production and how beautifully it had been done with no damage to any throat. Now, let us go into the direct technique of how we get this technically accomplished. The sound for the different types of production without damaging the throat. The music which you will hear first comes from a rock opera. The opera is an I in each head. And the composer of this opera is Mr. Adams, who is on our campus. It was written for the rock sound, but we are going to use this as a belting sound. I do not deal with the hard rock sound in my studio because I feel that the singing of hard rock in the tone that they use is most injurious to the vocal instrument. And I know that they could get a very fine effect without using that hard rock sound. Now, the student that I'm going to ask to help me is one of my girls who's here working on a master's, Diana Davidson, and she is going to be assisted at the piano by Daniel Greenbush. The first thing we start on, Diana, always is the exercise with this involves the whole lower abdominal area, right? Mm-hmm. From the pubic bone to the sternum bone. Will you do that for me right now? The hoop, please. All right. Now, the next exercise that we work on to get that belting tone that we are very eager to get is the me-o-e-o-e-o. We do it in a nasal tone first, and let's show them how we do it, please. Me-o-e-o-e-o-e-o-e-o. E-o-e-o-e-o-e-o-e-o. Me-o-e-o-e-o-e-o-e-o. E-o-e-o-e-o-e-o-e-o. When you have done that in the nasal tone, you feel a great deal of activity right through the nasal area here, the nasal pharynx, right? All right, now the next exercise that we worked on very hard was a pre, pre, pre. Will you do that, please? Pre, 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 pre. Please watch the upper lip, what is happening. Pre, 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 pre. You also see action all around this nasal area here. Do it once again. Pre, 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 pre. All right. Now, will you sing one of the songs out of this hard rock opera? It doesn't have to end this way. Okay. It doesn't have to end this way. As long as man took orders from any God on earth or in heaven, he remained in a prison of his own making. It's time for our awakening. Rejoice, we're alive, don't you know it? Rejoice, we're alive, don't you know it? Rejoice, we're alive, don't you know it? Rejoice, we're alive. Now, Diana, will you sing this just in your ordinary, lovely voice, please? It doesn't have to end this way. As long as man took orders from any God on earth or in heaven, he remained in a prison of his own making. It's time for our awakening. Rejoice, we're alive, don't you know it? Rejoice, we're alive, don't you know it? Rejoice, we're alive, don't you know it? Rejoice, we're alive. Will you jump right quickly back into the belting tone, please? It doesn't have to end this way. As long as man took orders from any. All right, you heard the different tone, sound. If she goes down and auditions on Broadway for a Broadway show and uses this lovely voice that she has and doesn't do it in that belting sound, she will just go out like that. They won't use her at all. But did you feel the belting tone when you were singing it? Did you feel it in your throat at all?
Oh, no, not at all.
What did you feel?
Okay, you feel it here in your nose and up over the hard palate. You feel there's an arch over the hard palate, so that it doesn't. That's what keeps it from going down on the throat.
Right.
But you don't think of lifting the soft palate. You don't think of the space in back, because that's what warms the tone.
Right. That's exactly right. And the first thing you think about, though, is what?
The support.
The breast support. All right. Thank you very, very much, Diana. Now, you heard me speak in the tape preceding this of the nodes. What is a node? It is a little callus that comes on to the vocal cords, like what comes onto your toe when a shoe rubs it. How do you detect it when a person comes into your studio? Well, you listen, and the tone sometimes stops on just one pitch. It'll stick. It won't go on over, maybe a 5-tone scale. Sometimes that can be caused from laryngitis. Not always, but sometimes. Sometimes the speaking voice is very husky, and there is a reedy tone that comes out. Sometimes there is an ache in the throat. This is not always the case, but sometimes. One of the real measuring rods, shall we say, is a vowel oo. The oo will not respond most of the time on the same pitch. You will start on the oo and it will stick on that same pitch. Sometimes it won't even go, the whole scale will just not go on an oo if there's a node there. If I have a question concerning a student who has come into the studio, whether there is a node there or not, if it's just a question in my mind, I send him straight to a laryngologist that can look down inside that throat with his instrument and see those vocal cords. What causes nodes? Number one, lack of breath control and support. Number two, over singing. Singing too much. Number three, speaking incorrectly. Number five, fatigue. If you are so tired and you keep singing and forcing yourself, you can cause a node to come on those cords. But the greatest offender of all is the tongue. What do we do about this? We have to get the pressure off that tongue. Now, how do we get the pressure off the tongue? The first thing, if you are in a chorus, you must get out of it for the time being until you get that node off the vocal cords. If you're in a Broadway show, and I've had singers from Broadway come to me with this condition, and they had to go on, the show must go on, then you do what we're going to do just a little bit. I will show you the exercises that we use. But the thing that you have to emphasize is that breath support from the pubic bone straight up to the sternum bone. Then we start thinking about the soft palate. Where is the soft palate? Take your tongue and run it over the roof of your mouth. It's hard at the front of the mouth. And then, about the middle way back, it begins to get soft, and it's soft from there on back. That is your soft palate. How do we get the pressure off that tongue? The first thing we do is the exercise for the breath, which is a very sharp K on the end of that. It is always whispered, and the knees are always flexed. If the knees are tight, the lower abdominal area will not work correctly. Then have your singer pick a pitch which is comfortable for him, and on one tone only say, oh, just letting the breath flow through this vocal instrument. Then the next exercise I give to help the tongue become loose and the jaw become loose is la, 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 la. And I feel like there is an inside smile. La, 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 la. All right? Half a step down, maybe, or half a step up from the pitch that he's done, but just that much. All right? Then the next exercise I work on is ki, ke, ki, ka. This is done on one pitch. Ki, ke, ki, ka. Ki, ke, ki, ka. I think of the breath support first, and then I think of that inside smile which lifts the soft palate. I do not pull up that soft palate. How does it come up? Well, I call it the inside smile. Now, I want you to watch me very carefully. This is what I call a grimace. There's nothing happening in the back of my throat right now, and it feels very tight out here and back inside. This is the deadpan. Nothing's happening any place inside my throat, and you can hear it in my speaking voice. This is the inside smile. When I smile inside, the soft palate automatically goes up. It just happens. Close your mouth, not your teeth, and smile, and you'll feel a wonderful space back in around that soft palate area. The next exercise I give, on one tone again, is ming, 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 and that is working with these muscles that you have seen involved on that inside smile. It's right in the mask. Ming, ming, ming. The next exercise I give is another one which involves that soft, the muscles under my eyes and the inside smile. Hum-me, hum-ma, hum-me, hum-ma. If I sing that without the inside smile, hum-me, hum-ma, you hear the difference. Hum-me, hum-ma. Then me, me, ma. Again, I'm using these muscles under my eyes. It lifts that tone right into the mask. Me, me, ma. And always very lightly with your people. The jaw and the tongue must go together to get that pressure off the tongue. The exercise I use for that is I feel very loose in the jaw hinge. I feel very wide across my mask. And then the next exercise I use is if I do not have that inside smile, it's going to sound there's pressure on that tongue, people. Without that inside smile, then the next exercise I use is humma, 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 humma. I'm still using these little muscles right underneath my eyes. And then I use an exercise of a hum from 1 to 5. Hum. A portamento, just letting the breath flow through those vocal cords. You're releasing all the pressure down here in the laryngeal area of the throat. And because you're lifting that soft palate, it's going up, the mask is commencing to work, and the pressure is going out. The next exercise I use is humme, 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 humme. The next exercise I use, again, is for the soft palate. Any exercise that starts with a K is always for the soft palate. Ka, ki, ko, ka, ko, ki. It's very light, always staccato, and the jaw always springs with the pitch that you're singing. Don't hold it still. Ka, ko, ki, ka, ko, ki. You hear a difference in that tone. You're releasing all of that tension inside the throat. Where did these exercises come from? They came from a Dr. Frank E. Miller. He himself was a professional singer in New York City. He became very concerned why singers' voices cracked in the middle of a phrase, why they got nodes on the chords, polyps and what have you. He decided to become a doctor. He went into medicine and became a throat specialist. When he came back to New York City, he opened his office and took with him 3 of the top singers in New York at that time. My teacher, Maud Douglas Tweedy, was one of those. She worked with Dr. Miller for 5 years every day in his office, watching every condition which came into his office, be it a speaker or a singer. All of these exercises were scientifically created by Dr. Frank E. Miller. And I have found them most, well, they just work. That's all I can say. Now, we've talked about belting earlier in the tape, and we've talked about the nodes. Now I want us to talk just about the speaking voice. The director of Once Upon a Mattress was Miss Catherine Talbot, who had studied voice with me for 5 years. I've asked her to come in and assist us today. She's now taking her master's degree at Florida State University in stage directing, correct?
Right.
All right. Kathy, well, I call her Kathy. I've known her since in high school. I want you to say just a simple sentence for me. Say, what are you doing with it? I want you to say it first, very angrily.
What are you doing with it?
What did you do to get that tone?
I had to use the lower abdominal muscles very much, and I felt the tone in this nasal pharynx area.
Right, right. Now, will you do that same sentence with a little bit of humor in it?
What are you doing with it?
Where did you feel that tone?
I felt that tone in the oral cavity, the mouth, and I had to support that, especially with the lower abdominal muscles, and I depend on the flexibility and strength of those muscles to support that tone.
Right. All right, now will you say it very sarcastically, please?
What are you doing with it?
Do you notice what is happening down here in this lower part of the abdomen with everything that she has done? This is moving.
Right.
And it's moving from the pubic bone straight up, right?
Right.
All right. Now, will you please do that sarcastic one and watch again here in the lower abdomen, and watch also what's happening up here in the facial area. All right?
What are you doing with it?
It's right up there. What are you doing with it?
The same bite.
The
that
same
anger
bite,
had.
right.
Yes.
All right. Now, will you say it very simply for me, please?
What are you doing with it?
All right. How are you going to get that tone to carry to the back of an auditorium?
This is a particular thing that the stage actor has to be concerned with, and he must support through the use of those lower abdominal muscles. And he's carrying conversational tones pretty much of the time he's on stage, but it must carry to the back of the house.
How would you say that if you were going to carry it to the back of the house and still say it simply?
What are you doing with it?
Try it just once again.
What are you doing with it?
All right. What are you doing with it? How did you get these emotions without tightening the throat?
This depends on that support and the strength of those lower abdominal muscles so that it bypasses the throat. Doesn't even, I feel nothing, no tension through here. It all comes on up through, and then it resonates in the different chambers.
In the different chambers of the nasal pharynx, the oral cavity,
Right.
the mask, the whole thing. I want you to scream for me, because we have to learn how to scream and still not hit or damage the throat. Will you do a scream for me, please?
Okay, I'm going to contrast the scream with the anger that I did before.
All right.
If I speak to you very angrily, I'm supporting with the lower abdominal muscles, but it isn't necessarily really loud, and the tone is very biting and very forward. But if I'm screaming at you, the back opens up, and I'm using even more support from the lower abdominal muscles.
I think that's very, very clear
Okay.
how you did it. Now, I want you to do some monologues from Shakespeare, if you will, please, for us. I want you to do one where you are crying, the crying tone, all right?
Is he not approved in the height a villain that hath slandered, scorned, dishonored my kinswoman? Oh, that I were a bad! What? Bear her in hand until they come to take hands, and then, with public accusation, uncovered slander, unmitigated rancor. Oh, God, that I were a man! I would eat his heart in the marketplace.
You had a great variety of different colors in that crying tone, didn't you? How did you get them?
I had to support, especially with the lower abdominal muscle again, because it's going into some of the higher pitches, and I have to open the back and keep it open in order to get that particular tone.
That soft palate area
Right.
that we've been talking about.
Right.
Right. All right. Now I want you to do an ingenue.
All right.
Part that is very light in color.
Okay.
All right?
O Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name. Or if thou wilt not, be but sworn, my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet.
How did you get that?
I had to support particularly because that ingenue, lighter quality voice is not my normal color. And I particularly had to get that tone up through high in the arch in the back.
High in the arch in the back,
Right.
and support underneath. The thing I'm trying to point out so vividly for you people is that it is all through this whole area of the mask and the nasal pharynx and the oral cavity with the support underneath it. And you feel nothing in the throat. All right. Now, will you give me just something that will illustrate an old woman which has a mixture of colors? Okay?
Okay.
Yet here's the spot. Out, damn spot, out, I say. 1, 2. Why, then 'tis time to do it. Hell is murky. Fie, my lord, fie. A soldier in the field?
How did you do that?
That was the combination, and I had to maintain that inside smile that you were talking about earlier, particularly in order to have the flexibility to go from the guttural sounds of hell is murky without it coming from the throat, but supported and the back space is open, to the higher quality of why, it is time to do it. So it flips in and out from one to the other.
Right.
With continuity and continuous support from the lower abdominal muscles.
When did you learn to do all of this?
Glad you asked me, because I had first come to you just before I was going to be a senior in high school, and I'd had 6 lessons, and I learned from you the breath support and the basic principles involved. And I was doing Amanda in the Glass Menagerie that fall, and I used those exercises and that whole concept of supporting with those lower abdominal muscles in order to get through those long monologues. And I use it in everyday conversation, as I'm talking to you now.
Right.
You have to.
I'm so glad to hear you say, I use this in everyday conversation, because this everyone should do.
Right.
Their voices will last longer and be more beautiful all the way. Thank you so much, Kathy. Now I want to talk about blocking. When I have prepared a student in a role, whether it be a character role or a straight role, and I go to that production and I see what the stage director has done with the blocking, sometimes, well, I could just scream. Where did I get my background for acting? I worked with the 2 top stage directors at the Metropolitan Opera in New York City, and I went to the drama school of Stanislavski in New York City. The opera blocking absolutely goes right in to blocking a Broadway show or a musical on Broadway. When I see my student come in on that stage that I prepared so beautifully, vocally, and the stage director has blocked them so that they come in or are in a love scene, singing face to face, I just cringe, because the audience is not going to hear what they are singing. Or if I have a singer that comes in from the wings, cross to center stage, singing at the time he comes in, which is not good, number one, to begin with, all that tone is going right into the wings, and the audience is not going to be hearing what that singer is singing. Actors have no orchestra to sing over, actors and actresses, but your singers in the Broadway show or the Broadway musical or any musical production has an orchestra to contend with. They must sing over that orchestra, and you directors must really realize this in your blocking. How do we do this when we have a love duet, say? Well, you certainly don't sing it just straight toward each other like that. It's going into the wings. We do what we call cheating. We indicate with our head that we're singing to this person, or with our hand, or with our shoulder, but we're still opening up toward our audience. The tone carries, and it will float to the back of the audience. There are 3 places that one can sing on the stage and have that tone carry. One is directly back on the stage, the other is directly front, and the third is into the floor, because the floor is hard. It's a hard surface, and the tone will bounce off of it and come back up to the audience. If it goes into the curtains, it's absolutely swallowed up. Now, what do we do if we are to portray a character role, such as an elderly lady? And we've been talking about all this breast support down here. Do you remember in the film just before this of the speaker whom I had bent over the piano to get the back breath? I want to show you what that person is going to have to do if he's an old man or an old lady. This is where he is going to get his support, is right from these back ribs that we were talking about. He's all tottery and he comes in and he still has to sing a beautiful solo like this. He is still going to have to use that muscle in the lower part of the abdomen, and he is also going to have to really compensate by using the back muscles right across the back rib cage to get that tone to carry beautifully as a singer. One other thing I would like to mention is that when you are off that stage, you stay in character. Don't be out there jabbering and jabbering with all your colleagues and then think in 1 minute time I can step before the footlights and I will be in character. You will not be as convincing, believe me. Live with that character that you are going to portray and stay with him behind scenes. So when you come onto that stage, you will be very convincing because you are that character. Now may I say in closing, good luck to all you stage directors of these wonderful musicals that we have had in the past and are still coming up to us every day of our lives now. Good luck to the actors, good luck to the actresses, good luck to the singers, good luck to all of you.